All right, so get this FA Cup third round, right? Emirates Stadium, the atmosphere is electric. Arsenal versus Manchester United, always a huge clash. And you want to know about this match? January 12, 2025.
Oh, yeah, this one had everything.
Drama, tension, penalties. It went right down to the wire.
Right.
Final score, 1-1. Man U wins in penalties, 5-3. We're diving deep into a tactical analysis of this game.
You're going to want to hear this one. What's fascinating here is that the managers, Arteta and Amorim,
They essentially set up a philosophical duel on the pitch, huh?
yeah, it wasn't just about individual talent.
It was a battle of ideas.
Almost like two different languages of football were clashing.
Okay, let's unpack this tactical chess match.
Yeah.
We know Man U went with that 3-4-3 formation under Amorim. That was a bit of a surprise, wasn't
A
it?
surprise and a bold move. It was almost like Amorim was saying, all right, Arsenal, you like to dominate possession. Fine, come at me. He knew Arteta's Arsenal thrives on that 4-3-3. The intricate passing, the high press. So he basically set a trap, right? That back three, Maguire, De Ligt, Martinez,
Like a wall.
daring Arsenal to break them down.
So classic park the bus strategy.
Yeah.
Just absorb the pressure and wait for the counter.
Not quite. It was more sophisticated than that. Amorim knew Arsenal's fullbacks, especially Zinchenko, loved to bomb forward. So with the three center backs holding the fort, it freed up the wing backs.
The Lot and Malaysia,
Just bring forward on the counter, and that's where the real danger lay.
Rashford and Sancho lurking on the wings.
Ready to exploit any space left behind.
Clever. So Amorim was basically gambling that Arsenal's attacking instincts would become their weakness. But what about Arteta? How did he counter that?
Arteta stuck to his guns, at least initially. He trusted his 4-3-3, the patient build-up play, the quick passing combinations, his midfield trio Odegaard, Partey, and Xhaka.
Masters at controlling the tempo.
Finding those little pockets of space.
But you could see that United's deep defensive line was frustrating them.
Yeah, they were struggling to create those clear-cut chances.
You know, reading this analysis, it's striking how both managers were playing a kind of psychological game as well. Amorim almost inviting the pressure. Arteta trying to resist the temptation to overcommit. So who blinked first?
Well, that's where the individual brilliance comes in. 52nd minute, Bruno Fernandes gets the ball about 25 yards out, doesn't hesitate, curls it right into the top corner. Goal. Man U takes the lead.
What a strike. You could practically feel the air go out of the Emirates, but then things get really interesting.
Oh yeah, buckle up. This is where the match takes a wild turn. 61st minute, De Ligt picks up a second yellow. It's a red card. Man U down to 10 men. The momentum shifts completely. Now it's Amorim who has to adjust on the fly.
Wow, talk about a game changer. Okay, so let's get into those tactical adjustments. What did Amorim do to try and hold on to that lead with only 10 men?
First thing, he brings on Amad Diallo, a young winger. But here's the key. He puts him in at right back to replace De Ligt.
Interesting. So you might think that's a defensive move, trying to shore things up?
But it was more nuanced than that. Diallo is quick. He's good on the ball. Amorim wasn't just trying to defend. He was still thinking about those counterattacks, even with 10 men.
So even when on the back foot, he's still looking for that killer blow. What a gambler. But Arteta must have seen an opportunity here, right?
Absolutely. He knows he has the man advantage, so he starts making offensive substitutions. Brings on Trossard, brings on Rice, fresh legs, more attacking firepower. The pressure starts to build on that Man U defense.
All right, so we've got this incredible tension building. 10-man Man U clinging to the lead. Arsenal throwing everything they've got at them. What happens next? Give me the blow-by-blow.
70th minute, Arsenal finally breaks through. A bit of chaos in the box. The ball takes a deflection, falls to Gabriel Magalhães, and he slots it home. 1-1. The Emirates erupts.
You can practically feel the relief from the Arsenal fans. But there's still a long way to go, right?
Oh, this match is far from over. And the next 20 minutes? A roller coaster. Arsenal pressing, Man U defending with everything they've got. It's wave after wave of attack, but somehow United holds on. We go to extra time.
All right, so extra time, both teams are exhausted. The tension is almost unbearable. Did either side have anything left in the tank?
Both teams had chances, but the defenses held firm. You could see the fatigue setting in, but also this incredible determination from both sides. Neither team deserved to lose. And in the end, it went all the way to penalties.
Oh, man, penalties.
Yeah.
The ultimate test of nerve. So walk me through those final moments. Who were the heroes? Who were the, well, let's just say, who felt the weight of the world on their shoulders?
Well, the penalty shootout itself, it was almost a microcosm of the entire match. You had moments of brilliance, you had agonizing misses, and you had one player who rose above it all to become the hero.
Give me the names. Who stepped up? Who crumbled under the pressure? I need the details.
All right, first up for Man U, you've got Bruno Fernandes. Ice in his veins, slots it home. No surprise there. Then Arsenal, it's Ødegaard. Captain steps up, calmly sends the keeper the wrong way. 1-1.
Okay, so far so good. Everyone's keeping their cool. What happens next?
Man U sends out Rashford. He's been relatively quiet all game.
But on penalties.
He's deadly. Ramsdale guesses the right way, but the shot's just too powerful. 2-1 Man U.
The pressure's building now. How does Arsenal respond?
They send up Gabriel Jesus. He's been dangerous all night, making those darting runs. But here, he hesitates just slightly and Bangor reads him. Save! Man U is up 2-1.
Oh, man, you can feel the tension rising in the Emirates. One more miss, and it's over for Arsenal.
Next up for Man U, it's Casemiro, the veteran, the rock in midfield. He goes for power right down the middle. Ramsdale gets a hand to it, but it's not enough. 3-1 Man U.
3 in a row for United. They're one penalty away from winning this thing.
Arsenal needs a miracle at this point.
I know.
It almost comes. Xhaka steps up, places it perfectly in the corner. 3-2.
Still a glimmer of hope. Can Arsenal keep it alive?
Man U sends out Sancho. He's been dangerous on the counter all night. And he doesn't disappoint. Sends Ramsdale the wrong way, 4-2 Man U.
So close yet so far for Arsenal. This is it, their last chance.
Arteta sends up Kai Havertz. He's had a few chances during the game, hasn't quite been at his best. And here, you can see the pressure getting to him. He takes a stutter step, tries to go for the top corner, and it sails over the bar.
Oh, no. Heartbreak for Havertz, heartbreak for Arsenal. Man U wins 5-3 on penalties.
It was a cruel way to end the match for Arsenal, especially for Havertz.
Yeah.
He's going to be replaying that miss in his head for a while. But you have to give credit to Bangor, the Man U keeper.
He was fancy.
He was the hero of the shootout, making 2 crucial saves.
You know, it's funny. Before the match, all the talk was about the tactical battle between Arteta and Amorim. But in the end, it came down to individual moments. Those split-second decisions that can make or break a game.
That's the beauty of football, isn't it? The tactics are fascinating. But the human element, the drama, the unpredictability, that's what truly captivates us.
Absolutely. But let's go back to those tactics for a moment. Because even though the shootout decided the match, those tactical decisions earlier in the game, they were crucial in setting the stage, weren't they?
Without a doubt. Let's rewind to that moment when Dalot got sent off. It was a turning point, not just because of the numerical advantage for Arsenal, but because of how both managers responded.
Okay, remind me, what exactly did Amorim do after the red card?
He shifted to a more compact 4-4-1, essentially trying to clog the middle of the pitch and force Arsenal out wide. But here's the key. He didn't just tell his players to sit deep and defend. He still encouraged them to break forward when the opportunity arose.
So it was a calculated risk.
Yeah, but it showed real belief in his team's ability to still hurt Arsenal, even with 10 men.
And what about Arteta? How did he try to exploit that man advantage?
He brought on Trossard and Rice, injecting pace and energy into the attack. He wanted to stretch that United defense, create those gaps for his forwards to exploit. But he was also wary of United's counterattacking threat. So it was a delicate balancing act, trying to push for the winning goal without leaving themselves vulnerable at the back.
You know, listening to you describe these tactical adjustments, it reminds me of a chess game.
Oh, yeah.
Each manager trying to anticipate the other's moves, adapting to the changing circumstances, always looking for that decisive advantage.
It's a perfect analogy. And just like in chess, there's always an element of risk involved. Amorim's gamble to keep pushing forward with 10 men almost paid off. A couple of times, Rashford and Sancho found themselves with space to run at the Arsenal defense, and it took some last-ditch defending to prevent a goal.
And on the other side?
Arteta's decision to push for that winner almost backfired as well. A few times, United caught Arsenal out of position, and if they'd been a bit more clinical with their final pass, they could have snatched a late winner on the counter.
Exactly. It was a tactical tug-of-war right to the final whistle. And in the end, it was the penalty shootout, the ultimate lottery that decided the fate of both teams. So this match had it all. Tactical masterclasses, individual brilliance, moments of despair, and ultimately the drama of a penalty shootout. What a story.
But let's shift our focus now. What can we learn from this game? What are the key takeaways for both teams as they move forward?
That's the question, isn't it? Because every match, especially one as dramatic as this, offers valuable lessons for the future. Let's start with Manchester United. This Man U squad, they've got grit. Going down to 10 men and not only holding on, but almost nicking it in the dying minutes.
Yeah.
That shows resilience.
They really dug deep.
Amorim has instilled a real belief, and you can see it in how they defend. They don't panic, they cover for each other, and they're always looking to break. But let's be honest, that red card was a turning point. Do you think they can rely on this, backs to the wall style against the big boys, especially in Champions League?
That's the million-dollar question. This win was huge for morale. But against a team like Bayern Munich, their upcoming Champions League opponent, they can't just absorb pressure.
Bayern's movement.
They're passing. It's relentless. Amorim will need a plan B, something more proactive.
So what's the solution? How do you counter a team that's basically an attacking machine?
He might have to gamble a bit.
Like what?
Maybe a 4-3-3 to mirror Bayern, press them high, disrupt their rhythm early. But that leaves them vulnerable on the counter. It's a high-risk, high-reward strategy.
Speaking of high risk, let's talk Arsenal. This loss, especially on penalties, it's got to sting. What's the biggest lesson they need to take away from this?
Finishing. They created chances even against 10 men. They lacked that killer instinct Havertz has missed. That epitomizes it. They need to be more ruthless in front of goal if they want to challenge for titles.
It's strange, though. Arsenal's usually so smooth, so fluid in their attack. What was different this time? Was it just an off night? Or is there something deeper going on?
United's deep block, it disrupted their flow. They're used to teams pressing high, leaving space in behind. Against a team that sits back, Arsenal needs more variety. Right. Maybe quicker switches of play, more runs in behind the defense, something to unsettle that backline.
So tactical flexibility is key. Sticking to your philosophy is important, but you also need to adapt, to have different tools in your arsenal. Pun intended.
Exactly. It's about recognizing what the game needs and having the players to execute it. Arteta is a brilliant manager, and I have no doubt he'll be working on this. Their next match against Liverpool will be a real test.
A massive clash. Okay, so before we wrap up, any final thoughts for our listener on what to watch for in these upcoming matches? Anything that we haven't already covered?
Watch the midfield battles. Against Bayern, can United disrupt their passing? Against Liverpool, can Arsenal find a way through that press? That's where these games will be won and lost.
So it all comes down to the engine room, the heart of the team. I love it. Well, I think we've thoroughly dissected this FA Cup clash. We've gone from the broad tactical strokes to the minute details and even looked ahead to future challenges.
It's been a pleasure diving deep with you, analyzing this captivating match.
The pleasure was all mine. And to our listeners, we hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into the beautiful game. Remember, football is more than just wins and losses. It's a story, a constant evolution, and there's always something new to learn. So keep watching, keep questioning, and keep exploring the tactical intricacies that make this sport so fascinating. Until next time, keep the passion alive.